It's your boy, Godswilla. We're back with another re-review. And today, we were re-reviewing the original Halloween 2 1981. Um, there is a... There's not really a lot I can say about this film that hasn't been said yet. Um, People like the praises. Halloween purists love the praises movie for it feeling like the original 1978 film. Well, yes, that is true. It feels the closest to Halloween 1978 that any film has come to, except for the flashback scene in Halloween Kills. Halloween 2 1981 does continue with that fall vibe. It has that midnight fall vibe, and I like that. The tone is consistent. Don't get me wrong. It totally feels like the second part to the first story of Halloween 1, 1978. It definitely feels like the next part. It feels like the next part. But this might get a little bit negative. Let me first talk about the brother-sister connection. Now, with Michael's first victim in the movie Halloween 1978 was back in 1963, where he brutally stabbed his sister when he was only 6 years old. Now, something went off in him one night, and no one could explain it. But now, he has murderous tendencies, this kid does. But there was something revealed in this movie that would shape the entire franchise as we know it. And I think it led to its somewhat downfall and what forced them to reboot the franchise. Let me explain. John Carpenter said he had writer's block, and he added the twist that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' little sister. Which, to this day, people thought that was good, but the Cult of Thorns shit was bad. But guys, this gave Michael a motivation why he kills. He is after his family members. You ruin the mystique a little bit of Michael's character. This is what started to ruin the mystique of Michael. Because what made the first movie so good was how he went after anybody. He could have went after anybody. He could have went after Laurie. He could have went after Annie, Bob, Linda. He did go after them, but he could have went after anybody. We didn't know his goal. He was just stalking these teenagers and sometimes his doctor. We had no idea what he was capable of, and we would soon find out. But we didn't know why he wanted to kill these people, why he has these thoughts. The mystique of Michael was at its best back in Halloween 1978, and that's the damn truth. Hot take, I don't care. Hate me for it, I don't care. But this movie ruined the mystique of Michael for me. Now, the idea of Michael going after a wounded Laurie, you could say he's going after the one that got away. He can't have anyone get away from him. You see. You can make that argument. But then we get the reveal that Michael was always after Laurie, which was not the case in the first movie. He was not after her because If Lori didn't go next door, Michael, she would have never found all the bodies. And Michael was just, he stayed there. He stayed there. He was probably provoked by Annie. Hence why she is the only one he attacks outside of his house. He only killed Bob and Linda because they interfered in his privacy. They went in his stomping grounds. They went in his house. You do not know if he still has the mind of a kid or an adult. You don't know. Because all Dr. Loomis said he did was just stare outside a window, just stare at a wall for hours. Inhuman patience this guy had. But Michael only went after Lori because she went to the Myers house. That's the only reason. That's what compelled Michael to say, oh shit, she's a witness. I have to kill her now. Because if Lori never came over, I think Michael would have left her alone. That's my theory. Because Annie was the only one that he attacked that was outside his house before Lori came in. But that's just my theory on it. But let's get back to Halloween 2. More kills, more blood, more gore, more titties. You know, what every sequel does, what every horror sequel does. More kills, more blood, more tits, more everything, more sex. You name it, the sequel has it. Way more than the first one, obviously. Because they had to compete. Because at this point, Friday the 13th Part 1 came out, and Part 2 was on the horizon. Part 2 came out that year as Halloween 2. So, to compete with Friday the 13th, they had to up the ante, up the gore. Yeah, up the ante, up everything. As every sequel normally does. But I feel like John Carpenter was forced to do that. I don't think John Carpenter makes those type of movies. He's not that type of horror movie guy. He's not all about the blood. Halloween 1970, I think, is his film, his baby, his masterpiece. It was all John Carpenter. But he was already had his hands tied with having that up the ante, up the gore, up everything. And with that being said, this movie, after a rewatch, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. It's been since the last time I watched this movie was 2021. I don't remember it being this fucking bad. I don't remember that at all. When I gave it on the tier list, I think I was being a little bit generous. Because that was made before I rewatched Halloween 2 for October. Because I don't watch this movie a lot. I always thought it was average. But that's besides the point. Now, let me talk about the performances. Dick Warlock as Michael Myers. A different actor, not Nick Castle from the first one. And you could obviously tell. This is not a dig at Dick Warlock, but Nick Castle's walk is more iconic. You should have trained Dick Warlock should have trained to walk like Nick Castle did in the 1978 film. because James Jude Courtney proved that he can nail the fuck out of it. He nailed the fuck out of Nick Castle's walk, his mannerisms, everything. James Jude Courtney was perfect as Michael. I think I'll talk about James Jude Courtney when I get to the Blumhouse trilogy. Hold up. But that's going to be a little bit later in this month. But Dick Warlock, with what he was given, he did pretty good. Was he an intimidating Michael? No. Let's be honest, guys. No. Least intimidating Michael. Yes. Jamie Lee Curtis reprised her role as Laurie Strode. She's amazing, as always, of course. But they really made our character make really goofy decisions, like when she is being chased and she's outside, and Dr. Loomis and company arrive to the other side of the other building from the other side of her. She quietly yells, "Help me," instead of yelling from the top of her lungs. You can say, "Oh, but she didn't have her vocal cords. Like she like." Then explain how come as soon as they walk in, as soon as Dr. Loomis and company walk in, then she yells. Why not yell beforehand? Look, it's a nitpick, but come on. Realistically, you're screaming your lungs out. There's a fucking masked murderer trying to kill you, and you're not in the best shape to fight, considering you were just in a fight with him. So, yeah, Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis. It's the same. Donald Pleasence is such a captivating actor. Whether he's playing a hero or a villain, he fucking nails it. And I don't even know what to say. He's just great. But now let's talk about the ending. So, Laurie, Michael, Loomis, the three, you could print them, they're the three main leads, of course. Dr. Loomis, Laurie Strode, Michael Myers, they're the three main characters. Michael's the main antagonist, and you got the two they're the co-protagonists, basically, Laurie Strode and Donald Pleasence. Or Laurie Strode and Dr. Loomis, not Donald Pleasence. I don't know whatever. But that's besides the point. Yes, the three of them, the trio of them, Dr. Loomis sacrifices himself while Laurie gets away by blowing up that room that him and Michael are in, killing him and Michael in the process, or so we think. As Laurie is cowering in a corner behind a box, she hears something move from the wreckage of fire. And one she sees of Michael Myers, obviously way buffier than he was before. Obviously, you can tell he has a flame protectant suit on. Obviously. He takes a few steps towards Laurie, and then he collapses. Dead. Until Halloween 4. Now, most people think that this is the best ending for Michael Myers' story. Even though there's so many iterations of the character, you can't really say which is the best story. It's all a matter of opinion. There's some people that really love the Thorn trilogy, and I can respect that, even though some things in those movies, especially the producer's cut of Halloween 6, is just atrociously fucking bad. But if you like shitty movies, there's nothing wrong with that. We're just all entitled to our own opinions. But, But this movie is bad. This movie's kind of really bad. It's not the worst in the franchise. We'll get to that. But Halloween 2 is a 5.5 out of 10. Barely above F tier. F plus. An F plus. This movie gets an F plus. Because of the decision to give Michael a motivation in his killings, that ruins it for me. And just all the minor things that don't make any sense is what really drags this movie down for me upon a rewatch. This is a 5.5 out of 10. If you guys disagree with my opinion, that's fine. But we're all entitled to our opinions. If you love this movie, great. I'm glad you found enjoyment in this. But it was just really boring for me. And that's what really makes this a 5.5 out of 10. I will see y'all in Halloween 3. I will see y'all when I review Halloween 3 Season of the Witch 1982. See you guys.